All right, let's get down to showbiz, and there's been a lot, or quite a bit that's been happening
Definitely,
today
definitely.
as far as showbiz is concerned.
Definitely, we beehives, talking about how, Ghanaians are feeling proud, Africa is feeling proud on the Lion King album by Beyonce, and how one of our biggest dancehall artists, Shatta Wale, has been featured on a song title already. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the updates from a striker who has made a formal complaint to the police about his handlers. Today, the handler who was invited, Kofi Roberts, or he accused him of duping him, brought a statement to show the accounts and what has been spent so far, and then handed over an amount of 40,093 pesos, or 93 cedis, sorry, to the young man, as the amount left of the 1% of the money Netflix sent, which was 30,000 US dollars, which was a little over 100,000 Ghana cedis. And we're left with 40,000 because there were some transactions that were made. Of course, the family and striker were okay with the transactions that went on that account. And here is Kofi Roberts speaking after that.
I was surprised because from what I understood from the story, he needed money. And whenever he needed money, he always calls me and we meet at the bank, his bank. And I always withdraw money for him.
He goes with you personally, because what he tells me is that he has to go through Kwabnasam, and then Kwabnasam is the one who has access to you. He doesn't have direct access to you.
That's not true. He always calls me. Just on May 20th, that was the last time I actually met him at the bank. It was a very rainy day, and we met at the bank, and he came with a friend, and I gave him money for his upkeep. So I was hoping that money would last him a while, but I was surprised. I want to ask him if it's okay for me.
But the last time you saw him was in May. How much did he give you when you went to the bank with him?
1,000.
1,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Okay. Is that the same amount you gave him?
That's correct. All right. So I was hoping that he would manage that money for a while.
Are you satisfied now that you've given out the account, the rest of the money in the account, you've washed your hands off this case?
I am relieved. I am absolutely relieved. Even though, I mean, in my heart of hearts, I wish nothing but the best for him. I wish that the dreams that I have for him, they materialize, because I want him to be in a position whereby he's 21, he's doing a vocation, even if he doesn't want to go to school, he's doing something positive with his life. For me, the main purpose of me even holding on to the rest of his money was when he was 21, I wanted him to be so successful to the extent that you as reporters would see him on the street. Maybe he would be driving a car, he would have his own house. You'd be proud to see him do so well, and I would be proud to have been part of that success story. That was my whole intention.
What delayed getting him a vocation or getting him a trade to learn? What delayed that process? Because it's almost a year after we heard that.
Ima would be the only person to answer that, because he will tell you how many times I've spoken to him. I talked to him today, he understands, then tomorrow it's a different story. And I can't force him. He has to be willing to do it for himself. He has to be willing to better himself and gain some skill.
All right, so the update of that is also that money was handed over to him. He gave the money to his family, and they got home with the money, and he says that he will return to school. So we're waiting to see what happens. And also, the car that was bought with part of that money will be delivered to the police or driven to the police station, and after that, the car papers will be turned or transferred into his name, and then that will be it.
But what I want to know is, what's happening to his career? Is that it? I mean, he's
well, he had people who were managing him. He acted other movies afterwards. But one of the concerns that Kofi Robert raised was that he gets scripts, but he cannot read the scripts. So how does he interpret the scripts then? That's the problem, and that's why he's fighting that he goes back to school and tries to, you know, get some education for himself. So away from that, let's celebrate Shatta Wale, who has been trending on the worldwide trends. Here in Ghana, he's trending at #1 as well, and it's because of this. He has a song with Beyonce, and it's titled Already. So this is a tweet from his friends, but let's see that post he made when to tell the world that he actually has something with Beyonce. All right, so this is a response from his colleagues in the industry. So Israel, can help us?
All right, so I can see Stoneboy, I can see Samini, I can see Manifest, and
the Sarkodie as well, and Samini, yeah.
All right,
so that's it.
So this is the first one that actually came out. So already Beyonce, Shatta Wale, the Lion King, The Gift.
Exactly.
His name comes somewhere down
beneath there. So that's it. And let's read
it says,
the
congrats. So this Stoneboy, congrats on this one. Chai, Ghana, let's not sleep on this one. Manifest says Shatta Wale and Beyonce on a track. We never expected it. Congrats, guy. Shatta Wale GH. All right, and then we also had
Sarkodie and then Samini.
Sarkodie and Samini, okay, all tweeting.
Yes.
But it's good. I think it's good. There's no doubt about it. And we should congratulate him and all the other African acts who made it.
So we have Tiwa Savage and Mr. Easy on there. Techno is there, and then also there's one other person, Benna Boy, and then there's one person. There are 5 Nigerians there. We had just one Ghanaian. Right. We're grateful, but the most important of it is that we had a Ghanaian beat maker produce 3 of the songs. Guilty Beat, the man who did the Aquaba song, has gone beyond just Nigeria, and look at him on the carpet with Beyonce and Yemi Alade. And that's Guilty Beat there. But let's see some more videos from Guilty Beat.
All right, so the other question that people will be asking is, how did this collaboration happen? Do you have those details?
Well, what happened, or what I've seen is one of the handlers of Shatta Wale, Chris Coney, talked about how he had a conversation with some people who work on the label that Beyonce owns, and about he being on the Lion King. So what we don't know is whether they reached out to them or Shatta Wale's team reached out to them. But obviously in this case, I'm thinking that Beyonce's team reached out because she talked about how she wanted to feature Africa in this, and then he was to do a verse on the Already song, and he sends his verse, and then that's it. So and they said they love it and blah blah blah. But yes, Beyonce speaking about, you know, how she wanted to have Africa on this project.
Beyonce, here's a sneak peek of the special.
This soundtrack is a love letter to Africa, and I wanted to make sure we found the best talent from Africa and not just, you know, use some of the sounds and did my interpretation of it. I wanted it to be authentic to what is beautiful about the music in Africa.
Okay, but here's the way I also see it. I mean, from where I sit, I'm looking at the Lion King promoting a strategy to promote the Lion King and make it really big, because we're talking about the Lion King because of the collaboration with it.
But the Lion King has always been big, you know.
Well, no, the first one was big. They're hoping that this one will be equally big.
Well, we have Beyonce on this one, so it's going to be a great project. And of course, we have Pop. His followers alone can make it big. You don't worry at all about that. Anyway, thanks for having me.
All right, thank you too, Ms. G, for bringing us the show.